since I did the last video, like normal. Always takes me a month or so. But I've been really busy since that last one, doing the electrics and getting the tank prepared for paint, getting the seat base thermo molded by hand, and loads of other little bits and bobs. But yeah, I'll take you through the electrics that I've done on this bike. I won't go massively in depth, but I will just share some of my techniques of what I've done in terms of how I've done the looms. So I'll take you over there now and we'll have a quick look at the kit that's on there and just how I've done it personally. So starting at the front of the bike, I've got a really nice 5.75 inch DRL light, so that stands for daytime running light. So as soon as the bike ignition is on, this LED bar, as you've seen on the intro, lights up, and then we've got obviously low beam, high beam, high beam, low beam, so obviously that'll point it upwards, that'll point it downwards. So as I say, it's a 5.75 inch light, and I went for this one because I think it doesn't take up too much room on the front of the bike, and it sits really well with the Daytona Valona 80 RPM gauge that I've got. So the mission for the electrics from the front of the bike was to have minimal wires running anywhere other than just down here each side, to keep it really neat, which I've achieved. So you can't really see any of the wires on this bike at all from the front. Obviously this one here is the hydraulic line for the brake, for the clutch. Then you've just got this single cable here hiding just behind for the electrics. I've got the twin wires running side by side that way, so you can't really see those for the dials. I've done the same for the hydraulic, brake and the cables down here. Try to line them as much as possible so you can only see so many from the front. So as I mentioned just now, the speed, the RPM gauge goes up to 9,000. This bike will rev probably to about 8.5, I think, maximum. So this is an ideal gauge. This is 80 millimeters in circumference. And it sits really nice in the cockpit. And this is kind of this is what I was trying to achieve here, was the most cleanest looking, as I call it, the cockpit is possible. So this has got no slits in it. That's got a lot of special fixings, so it doesn't have a slit this side or the other side. Single piece billet aluminium. So for the buttons, I've got, these are Motone buttons. This does the headlight, so the DRL comes on automatic as soon as you start it. You press it once, low beam, hold it down for like a second, high beam, press it once again, high beam off, hold it down for however many seconds, turns all the lights off apart from DRL. Left indicator, right indicator. Then over here, I've got the horn, just here. And then I've swapped out the black for the billet aluminium button for the starter motor, just to give it a bit more, just so it looks nicer. Bit of an occasion when you press the button, then it's going to fire up. The cables for the buttons are all run internally and come out here on both sides. And as you can see, all the looms come from here. So obviously got the headlight loom, left hand side, buttons loom, and this side, right hand side's button loom, brake switch just there, and then just there is the speed, the RPM gauge. I feel absolutely shattered today, so I'm getting it all wrong, but so yeah, and what I've done is I've routed all of these internally. The frame's been protected. You can't really see it, but it's got like a protector just here where they come around the frame. But on both sides, the cables, hydraulic or electric, have been routed internally through that part of the frame there. And then same goes for this side, exactly the same through there. You'll notice on this side there is no wiring looms at all, because I decided to run them once they got into the frame all on this side. There's the horn just under there. I was mega pleased with that. That was probably the easiest job on the whole of the bike. This fitted straight on. And with the tank on, you can not even see it. So I was well happy with that. So in terms of the wiring looms, a lot of people tend to like splice them together and do all sorts of stuff. Just turn you around there. Oh, wrong way. Oh, I'm absolutely shattered today. I think this bike build is really catching up with me now. So I decided not to splice things together and do a lot of splicing and interconnecting into all the different looms, mainly because I didn't feel a need for it once I'd worked it all out to what I was going to do, and also if me thinking about, you know, if something breaks or whatever, or crash it or I need to replace stuff, you know, I just want to be able to unplug stuff and just pull that wiring loom out the easiest way possible. So really that's probably my racing background coming into it, is I just want to be able to get things off it, put things back on really quick. But it actually works out really well for this build, and I'll just show you. So for instance, these are the indicators right on the end. These have got a JST connectors just here internally. So I can just unscrew that, they come off, JST connectors, really nice connectors, waterproof, high spec, job done. Same for obviously both sides. And then I looked at all sorts of connectors for this, for these looms, all real nice fancy ones, expensive ones and all this and whatnot. But then I realised that they'll either need unpinning, which a lot of them do unpin fairly easy, or, you know, that basically in a nutshell, they won't fit through this gap once I need things out. The only thing that would fit through that gap is Japanese bullet connectors. So being as that come with Japanese bullet connectors and pretty much any splicing involves that, I decided to keep the bullet connectors, and I ended up with a really nice neat bunch of them, about 7 under here, and that was it. So I thought, well, there's no point putting any fancy connectors anywhere because that literally does the whole job. There's my females for the indicators. So when I sort my indicators out, there'll just be a nice little loom just to here, and that so when the indicators are on, they're obviously live. So yeah, as you can see, all the looms have been kept separate, and then any splicing for coming down to these bullets to run off up to the RPM has been done like in this region here, you know, just here. So if anything needs to come off from that end, just undo it from there. If anything needs to come off from that end, undo it from here. You know, I hope that makes sense. People that do wiring looms a lot more than me probably know what I'm on about a little bit more. But you have like, there's so many ways of doing wiring looms. I just took the way that made the most sense to me. And what made the most sense to me was get away with the most minimal splicing as humanly possible, and make sure that if you keep all these separate, because they all look nice and neat, you know, they're all running through, and by the time we get to here, I've put them together here, but that's only a very short run. So from there to there, that's it. So if anything went wrong, I've only got to take off this bit of sheathing, and then I can disconnect stuff and take off whatever I want, and the only bit that's spliced in is here. So that, to me, that made absolute sense, and I could sleep at night knowing that there's nothing hard about the way I've done these electrics in terms of now it's done. But I spent a lot of time planning how I was going to do these electrics, like a lot. Yeah, I put a lot of thought into it. So obviously in here, and this, there is a common earth. So all these earths are linked together for these 3 buttons. So I've done things like that. You know, there's a little circuit in here that I made, sorry, for all the earths. It's common practice, most people do it. So there's only 1 earth coming out for the whole of this. Obviously there's only 1 earth for that. You know, 1 earth for that as well. So I minimised earths how you would do normally when you're building a loom. And then what I did with any earths that I've got, which there is quite a few once you get going, I fabricated this little aluminium earthing bar, and then I've put them all on here with M5s. So I drilled and tapped this 3mm, this is 3mm thick aluminium. There's a standard mounting point here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and obviously you can get 2, 4, 6, 8 earths on that. And again, going back to the methodology of how to take things off, I can just disconnect things, disconnect whatever earth is relevant to it, and away you go. Do you know what I mean? You can get stuff out dead easy, or in my case, install it dead easy. There's my, that's the RPM sensor on the HT lead. So, you know, I've managed to hide things that well. I can barely see what goes to where, which is kind of the idea once it was all nice and neat. So I see, yeah. So that yellow cable there, again, you know, want to replace that, disconnect it from there, take this off, job done. But this is the RPM. This is what the RPM pulse, or the spark pulse, I should say. So I wrapped the wire around a small screwdriver, really small screwdriver, and then by the time it goes on here, it kind of springs on there, and then I heat shrunk that on. So obviously it all looks nice and neat. So I'm hoping this is making sense. The main goal was to have as least visible wiring as possible from the front, have it internally routed, and for it to make sense to me 6 months later, or a year later, or whatever it would be, when I'm looking at it again. And looking at it now, it does. It's fairly self-explanatory. You can follow things to where they go, to where they've come from. I mean, you know, so easy. The primary wiring, as I called it when I was doing it, is all here. So I've got all my charging system set up. You know, my battery set up, and my main earth lead straight to the frame. Everything's nice and easy. And because I've done all my earths back here, I've not got loads of earths in here. I've just got, you know, I've got like 3 on there, 3 on there. I've got my main big ground or earth to my frame. You know, it's easy. It's just mega self-explanatory. All these are labelled with what they do. I've got my inputs here, this side, my outputs there. For anyone that doesn't know how these work, basically these all work off grounds. So when it senses a ground on any of these, it tells this side to turn on. So if I hit the horn, it'll ground the horn, and then the horn live will come on and obviously make it beep. And it's the same for every button. Mega easy. I've got a Noco lithium battery that pumps out 500 cranking amps. Don't forget, this is a rephased engine running 9.2 to 1 compression. And this setup turns over with the choke on. So that's exactly what I needed. I needed to make sure it was beefy enough for all of that. GPS sensor, that is for the speed. I think you could probably do tracking of it, tracking with it as well. That one's also got tracking in. The neutral wire just there, just nicely hidden. I've also got connectors down in the off here. I've changed the horrible red HT leads I had on for these nice black ones, non-resistor caps, because I'm running resistor spark plugs, so they're nice and compact. I've extended the harness for the electronic ignition, and I've hid it around the back of here. So when you look at the engine as a whole from afar, or just here, there's hardly any wires on it. So that is pretty much it. Ignition is NFC. So obviously you just waft the key fob near it and it turns it on. This is also Bluetooth, so if you've got the app on your phone like me, you just walk up to the bike and it'll turn on anyway. It's really smart, gives you data login and everything. It's really, really cool bit of kit. So obviously I've got my rear lights to put on my indicators, which I'll show you in a minute. But rear light is easy, that's literally one earth and tail and brake, you know, that's it. So that'll be a nice little loom, and then obviously just a little loom for the indicators, which I've already got pre-planned just here. But yeah, hopefully you'll agree. That is, I wanted to show you the bike like this, just so you can see how the harness looks underneath, or harnesses should I say. You know, there's no one, to me this is a lot less daunting. There's no one massive harness that's got everything in that you don't know where anything goes. This is all nice and separate. It's obvious where it's spliced in once you take this quick tie off here. Obviously it's all closed sheath done. You know, so there's no harness tape. I did use harness tape on something and I never use it again, because when you put it on it looks okay, when you want to take it off it's a sticky, horrible mess. So that's why I decided to go down the slightly harder route of doing it the OEM way, of all closed silicon or whatever this is, PVC tubing, so which they call a closed harness. So all of those harnesses effectively come into this area here. I'll just put this masking tape on to protect the frame when I'm putting the tank on. So this harness, it comes into one harness here, which is inputs like I mentioned, and then there's another harness just here that's all the outputs. So by the time it gets to this end, you've just got inputs and outputs, and obviously the primary wiring for your charging, starting and all the rest of it. So, but yeah, like I say, I've tried to make it as neat as possible. Like I say, if you've been following me for a while, I don't really do half measures to my own sanity. If you think I find this easy, I absolutely do not. I lose sleep on a lot of details on this bike, and I really drive myself insane. But at the end of the day, it's just the way I work, and I know when this bike's all done, I'll be really happy with it. So I'll just show you the rear lights. God, I can't get this right, can I? I'll just show you the rear lights I'm going to put on, or the rear light and the indicators. So this has got angel eye around the outside, so the outside lights up for the tail light, and then the inner circuit lights up for the brake. This is really nice unit from Australia, in-house built. That's billet aluminium housing, hollow bolt, so when it's on you're just going to see the minimalist of light. So that's the rear light. That is 42mm, just for reference. And then for the indicators, I've got the Moblaze 10s. So these are massively small. So these are like, again, smaller than my fingernail. Just for reference, that's the, obviously. So yeah, they're the smallest indicators in the world, I think. And they're actually all approved. I don't know if it will focus on this, but it looks like loads of marks on the lens, but it's not, it's writing. But they're all approved. And these are massively bright, really, really bright. But obviously when they're off, they're minimalist. As you can see from the side of the bike, when the tank's on, see the horn just there disappearing as you come up to normal level. But you can see there's minimal wires that you can notice from the side of the bike, and that's fully wired. There'll be nothing else going on. I forgot to mention the regulator rectifier is up there, and that fitted lovely in between the DNA filters. I even went to the extent of, this was a grey plug and I coated this black. I've left the inner side, I've left these bits grey just so you can see which one goes on which, although you can't get them wrong anyway. But the whole point from that was, well, when you're back here, it just goes into the shadows and you can't see it, you know. So that was the whole, pretty much one of the main objectives of doing the wiring on this. Make it as logical and as clean as possible and as invisible as possible. And I don't think I've done a bad job. So I hope you're not too bored yet looking at this. I mean, I feel absolutely shattered. I've been playing Forza Motorsport 2 with Harry. That's his new game, and I'm so competitive I can't leave it alone until I've won the race. So that's my own fault. I'll just show you some of the bits that I've been doing. So the tank, let me just get this round here. So the tank is stripped. It's got a few little dinks that are going to be sorted out by the tank man that's going to be doing this tank. Essentially the shape is going to stay the same. This is going to have a flush fit cap that pops up. So this bit will be taken out and a new bit will be welded in with a flush fit cap. So that would be nice. So that, yes, the tank's pretty much ready to go to him. I just need the tank at the moment, so when I'm contouring the seat foam, I want to know where it ends up here. So the seat is currently here, which looks like a massive, well it is, it's a foam sandwich at the moment. So this is all closed cell foam for the base. So you'll probably think, what the fuck is this at the moment? This is about 2 months worth of work. So the base has been done to the absolute, quarter of a millimetre of its life. So this matches the frame perfectly. This has been, I've hand thermoformed this PVC plastic that's 4mm thick. It's got all the fixings for the things that I need. So the two outermost of the seat mounts, the four inners are for the custom rear mudguard that I've made or reshaped. These ones here are for optional tail tidy if you want to have a if I want to have a different style. All of these have been thermo inserted, these brass threads. So I'm really happy with how these went. And you'll probably notice that where the threads are, there's actually another 4mm of plastic bonded. So there's 4mm of plastic. So there's 8mm. It's 8mm thick here, and it's 8mm thick somewhere buried in there for those ones as well. So those threads are rock solid. Obviously, I strain tested the threads on a scrap piece of plastic, so I know exactly what to expect. That's just me. I hate surprises. So basically this bit here at the front, in terms of on top, that's how that wheel will look in terms of that. This bit will be where my bum sits, and then obviously this is just me messing around at the moment, but when I'm sculpturing this, it'll kind of come down flat pretty much, and then it'll come up into a passenger pad up here somewhere. There's another layer of this to go on, and I'm not going to be sitting just on the closed cell. There's that white stuff just there is 20mm thick. That's automotive grade, extra firm foam. So this won't have any of that on, this front bit, because I need this bit to be quite rigid for when the leather is there. I want it to be tight up against the tank. This bit's got 10mm of this has got 10mm of closed foam on it, and then it'll be having 20mm of the white upholstery foam, so that'll be fine. I've tested that. And then the rear pillion pad will mostly be made out of this closed cell foam, because it keeps its shape really well and it doesn't compress that easy. So when the pillion sits on top, all this isn't just crumple down, it'll just be the first 20mm, and then you've got this nice supportive foam underneath, so the foam hump will always remain in shape. So I've watched loads of videos and I've looked at loads of people that know what they're doing with seat making, and I'm just literally copying their techniques, which seems to be going really well. But yeah, this seat base cannot be underestimated to how long that took me. It doesn't look much now, it looks a bit messy now, it's got foam on, but that is to the absolute 1/4 of a mil of its life getting that right. All the blueprints are down here, so there's blueprints, and the first one that I did where I learned all the mistakes on. I mean, there's just hours, well there's not hours, there's days, weeks of work that went into that. So that fits this frame absolutely perfectly. It sits exactly how I want it to on the frame. Yeah. I'll never look at a seat base again and think that's just a case of slapping it on and penciling it around, which you can do, but you know, if you want it perfect, then you've got to go to a lot of effort templates and stuff. And obviously hydroforming, not hydroforming, that's water, thermoforming this by hand, which is a really nice process, to be fair. It can be quite stressful, you got to get it right if you're doing it by hand. But the idea with this is these bits here, these bits that stick out just here, they sit nicely under about there, and they like interconnect with the tank, and it creates one line for the whole lot across the plane for the bike. Yeah, it just looks really nice once it's when it's been on. So yeah, if you're waiting for some more spray adhesive to come, this is like the world's most expensive spray adhesive, but I wanted to make sure it was going to stick, so I've used the proper stuff. So I don't want to do all this work and then it starts coming unbonded, which it isn't. It's really good stuff. So yeah, that's the next job, is just finishing this off, sculpturing it, getting the foam on. The last stage of the foam will be this, this is called scram foam. So foam one side, nylon kind of material the other side. It will go foam side down, and it will leave this nice slippy material facing up. So when I take this to get upholstered in leather, it's nice and easy to slip on and all the rest of it. Again, I've watched about 1 million YouTube videos, and yeah, can't wait to get that done. Rear mudguard. So this was really good. I'm absolutely mega happy with this. So this was, dare I say it, a Harley Davidson mudguard. I know, on it I was nearly sick too. But it looks nothing like how it did. So this was off like a massive street glide or whatever you call them. Nothing against Harley Davidsons, by the way, I think they're great. But this was off a massive something or other. It was damaged, it had a massive crack down here. But if you imagine this mudguard was a lot, it come around here and the crack was like over here somewhere, so I thought that's brilliant. I bought it for like 20 quid, and other second-hand ones are about 200, so I knew I was going to reshape it, so I've reshaped it to how I want it. Obviously the crack's gone because that was part of the reshaping process, and yeah, that's what I've ended up with. Yeah, a real nice rear section. I'll probably put a photo on of what this looks like fitted. I'll probably have to see it on there as well. So that's the rear section, and then this section comes all the way down to protect the rear of the engine. So again, all the mounts have been put in and chamfered, because obviously it's a bit of a funny angle when these bolts go in. Obviously it'll be all sprayed and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really happy with the shape of this. This is really nice and elegant, and yeah, it just worked out really well. And I haven't got to worry about doing a separate mudguard. I don't have to worry about doing a separate swing arm guard to the guard that's going to be up here. You know, it just runs, you know, from there all the way down, does the whole lot. You'll see what I mean when I put a video on. I've done it so it matches the contour of these rear shocks. I've done so it matches the frame going downwards, so it just looks right. Yeah, as soon as this, that's just one of those things. As soon as I seen it come up for sale on eBay, I was waiting to do the mudguard myself, and I thought, yeah, I know what I can do with that. So that's that one. Front mudguard is a aluminium fender mudguard, whatever you want to call it. Nothing to that, to be honest. I have got some Cafe Racer front mudguards down here that are really short, but to be quite honest, I want one that's going to run, you know, from like there to, you know, here, so it's at least protecting the engine properly, rather than going for just pure minimalist. I want something that's going to do the job. But because obviously this has got the bloody hell, mine's gone. It's got the, fucking hell, I can't remember what they're called. I was going to call them covers. Because it's got the fork covers on. Mine's gone completely blank. Because it's got those on, obviously it looks like a bit of a 1960s style or whatever. This mudguard, this suits it. You know, this length suits it. It's still smaller, it's still shorter than standard, but it's about 2 inches shorter or 3 inches shorter, but it looks right, it looks good. So that's that. What else am I doing? Oh yeah, I've done they're my rear paddock stand bobbins that I've made this bar out of aluminium. Well, it's an aluminium bar that I've just cut to length and threaded myself. Got some nice bobbins. I won't leave this in, that's just there for when I want it, when I want to put it through the spindle and raise the bike up. Oh god, no wonder why I'm knackered. These are original Yamaha XS650 fuel taps. Fucking hell, mine is completely gone. So what I did with these is they've been, obviously you can see they've been vapor blasted, completely refreshed. I've got I've made these copper or brass. I think I made them out of copper. They do look brass though, but I thought they were copper. But anyway, I've made these new ones. They'll just go in here, and I'll put filters. I'll try and get some original filters to work with these. Now the reason I've kept these is because I took the vacuum off the back, and I've put this. I made this brushed steel 1mm plate using the original gasket. Well, it's not the original, they're brand new ones, but you know what I mean, they are the original sort. I'll just cut out the middle. So yeah, they're a really nice unit, these are now. I'm really proud of these. I know no one's going to see them or take much notice, but they're, you know, like everything, little Easter egg things you can find on this bike. They've been really well finished off. And then I've got the actual lever for these. I don't know if you can see it on here, but I've brushed those. I've refinished the edges and brushed them. So when it's all together, there'll be a nice little fuel tap. You know, look really nice. And I think that is pretty much it. Rear mudguard mount, foam. So this is closed cell foam, and what I've done is I've contoured it. Let me just try and get a decent picture or decent video. So I've contoured it perfectly to that mudguard, rear mudguard that I've done. As you can see, it's contoured both ways. I've got all my mountings bang on, as you can see by the indents of the fixings. Again, this took a couple of hours to do. I've done a few before this one. So basically that here fits on like that. And obviously the mudguard will be sitting, if it doesn't fall off, it'll be sitting up like that. And the bolts all pull it together, and you can't even see, this mount, it's all hidden. So, but that's mega light, and it's really strong. And because it's made out of closed cell foam, it's probably better than doing it out of rubber, because with rubber you have to get it bang on for it to conform. What I found is this is pretty much bang on, and then it conforms perfectly once you tighten it all up, so it probably holds it better than solid rubber. And plus solid rubber with this sort of size is pretty heavy, whereas this weighs literally nothing. So that's really really good. Well, sorry if I've been rambling on, guys. Also, I'm really feeling this build now. But yeah, in a nutshell, I've just got to finish off foaming the seat, and then shape it and sculpture it. And then once it's all finished off with the scram foam, it'll go off to the upholstery, whoever the fuck that's going to be, for them to put leather on it. The rear mudguard is done. I've got the mounts for the front mudguard sorted. And then when my seat goes off for the leather to be put on, I will send the tank off to have, where's the thing? I've got a thing around here we go. Yeah, then I'll send the tank off to have this fitted. So this here is the, so that's the filler cap. So wind it in. You have to wind it in, you know, not mega tight, but tight. And then it ends up flush like that. Again, that's a bit of aluminium. This is steel, because obviously it's going into a steel tank. This is plastic, so if you was to like touch the tank with it, at least it's not aluminium or steel, it's just plastic, so you've got a chance of it not, do you know what I mean? You've got a chance of it not marking your paintwork or whatever. This is really light. So yeah, really happy with that. So yeah, that'll be one job for someone else. So yeah, I'm kind of getting to the point now where my jobs will start finishing, and I'll be relying on other people to do stuff, where it always goes fucking wrong, to be honest. But anyway, we always get there in the end. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I've left anything out at this stage. But yeah, we're looking pretty good. They're the front mudguard mounts down there. They're going to be spaced out. So they missed the things of the names that I can't remember. The fork covers. Shrouds. They're called fork shrouds. Fucking hell. So yeah, they'll be spaced out. So the fork shrouds miss the mountains when obviously they're going up and down. I mean, these don't go up and down anyway that much, because if you remember, if you've seen the videos, they're full race spec forks. So you know, they're not soft. They're pretty good. They're just right, is what I mean to say. So yeah, okay guys, sorry if I rambled on and seem absolutely knackered, but I am. But yeah, so the next video will be the seat when that's done, and maybe the tank when that's done. So there'll be like a video before it all gets painted, and maybe this bike will be finished before I retire. So I've been building this bike for 2.5 years from from scratch, which I don't think is too bad, to be fair. I did speak to one the other day, and they said, yeah, if you're working full time and all the rest of it, 2.5 to 5 years can be pretty normal if it's not your day job and all the rest of it, and you know, you got all this stuff to get on with in life. But yeah, I mean, 2.5 years, I didn't think it'd take this long, but I've gone into every single bit of detail to the nth degree, whether it be choosing a washer, a bolt, I mean, you name it, anything on this bike, every single thing has been chosen. Nothing's just been there to be put on. I mean, you know, I've just gone to the most ridiculous detail, but for me, that's where the enjoyment is. It can be frustrating, it can be really tiring, but I know when this bike's, like I've said it before, I know when this bike's put together, when it's painted and it's done, oh no, that's got my absolute best I could have done into it. And for me, that's what I wanted for this one. So yeah, all right then guys, hopefully it won't be too long before the next video, because if it is too long, that means things are taking ages. But yeah, hopefully this might be done mid-autumn, something like that. So, okay, see you soon.